Okay, so here's the bathroom I'm gonna be working on. It's got a vanity, toilet, and tile. I'm gonna pull the toilet up, take the vanity out, and then demo all this tile in here. And then clean up all the subfloor, if there's any mortar, and then lay new LVP flooring, put a new vanity right there, and then install a new toilet and any other trim. So that should be everything that I'm doing. I'm gonna wait to take this out because I gotta get this sink out first. And you don't even have to undo this part, you just leave that. Okay, so now I'm gonna pretty much cut around here. The sink's probably gonna be glued down to this countertop a little bit. So I'm gonna cut around this and see if I can pry it up to get the sink out, because it's gonna make it a lot lighter. Okay, there's that. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, where these screws are right here, I'm going to mark on the wall where those screws were, because that means there's a stud. And so when I put the new vanity in, I'm going to be a little forward thinking, and I don't want to hit a pipe or anything like that. I was able to get this screw out just now. It was stripped, but I was able to get the right angle since I got this top off. But I'm going to mark that one as well. Okay, so that way you're not guessing later. Okay, so I got the vanity out, so it looks like behind there. So next part is going to be this toilet. Okay, so first thing for taking up the toilet, I'm going to turn the water lines off, and then you flush it, hold it down for a while, make sure all the water gets out as much as possible. Then I'm going to use my shop vac to get any remaining water out. And start unscrewing it and taking it apart. Okay, so here's the water line. You're gonna turn that all the way to the right until it stops. All right, so that's completely off. That turns the water off. Now we're going to flush the toilet, hold it down, and get all that water out. Okay, so you got a little bit in the toilet bowl, and then you got not a whole lot in here. want to empty out as best as possible. You want as little water as possible in there. Okay, and then with the shop vac, you want to make sure you get your filter taken out. You don't want to have your filter in when you're sucking up water. Make sure your like the cartridge is empty. It doesn't have any debris in there because you have to suck some water up. So. Okay, so I got all the water sucked out. So the next part, I'm gonna disassemble the toilet. I'm gonna take the tank off. That way it's just lighter because that's just me. I can carry a whole toilet, but I don't want to fall. I don't want to hurt myself, and I'm going downstairs. So make it easy on yourself. So I'm gonna take it apart, and we'll go from there. I have some pliers. You just want to undo these screws down here. They're not screws, they're nuts. Your donuts make me go nuts. This one's a little hard to see, so you're just going to have to trust me. Just break it and then you can unscrew it by hand if it's not too rusted out. But from the looks of it, this toilet is pretty old. I was tightening it. Yeah, I was going the wrong way, y'all. Man, have you ever done this before? There we go. Okay, so after I get this one off, then you can obviously see the supply line right here. That's still connected. You don't want to disconnect that until you drain the water in the tank, or else you're gonna have all the water in the tank flow through that hole. Ask me how I know. This one you just unscrew by hand. Okay. That's good. It's good to have some shop towels or something, rags laying around to clean up some of this extra water if you want to. Now you should be able to take this off. Okay. And very minimal water coming out, so you're good. You probably get to see all of the previous paint colors of the bathroom. See? Next you have this. This is what's bolting the toilet to the flange to the ground. You got this bolt here on both sides, so you're going to want to undo that. So find your pliers wherever they are. They're in the last place you left them. Alright, you want to undo that. And the bottom of toilets can be kind of gross. Who am I kidding? They're not kind of gross. They're pretty gross, really gross. So you got that one. And swing it over here. Unscrew that. Because you got wax ring, and people sit down on these things and get some use out of it, man. So okay, put that one on good. There we go. gotta get out of there. You can't stay there. You got both of those sides unscrewed there and there. You got your supply line, you got your tank taken off, all that's good. So now you just have to wiggle this thing and get it up. And I would recommend when you pull this thing up that you have a plan on where you're taking it, because you ain't gonna be sitting it down, because it's gonna have the whole bottom of it's gonna be gross, and it might be dripping a little bit, and there will be a wax ring or what's left of a wax ring on there, so it's gonna be pretty messy. So have a plan of action on where you're gonna take it. That way you don't get in a bind.
Also, not a bad idea to wear gloves.
Alright, so this is the flange of the toilet, the poo-poo chute. So all this right there, that's stuff left over from the wax ring, or specifically wax. So you're gonna have to clean that up. In order to do that, I highly recommend using like some disposable latex gloves of some kind, maybe like a putty knife of sorts. And then I've got like a trash bag. You can use a trash can, a bucket, a grocery bag, something where you want to put it, because it's nasty and you don't really want to mess with it a whole lot. But you just want to clean it up, that way you can get it ready for the new toilet. Okay, so you're gonna have these screws right here. They slide in and out of right here, this little slot, so you're gonna want to pull those out. That's the screw or the bolt that was holding your toilet. Same thing on the other side, and get this wax out the way. Okay, and get this. Don't wipe your face at this point. But you just want to kind of clean this off as best as you can and get all that stuff off of there. And then try not to get anything down there. At this point, you're also going to want to have, in all seriousness, you're going to want to have a some kind of paper towel, rag, something, bread, something you're going to want to kind of shove in there just for the time being. That way nothing falls down there, and also so you don't want to shove it all the way down there, but you just don't want to drop anything in there, anything like that. So just kind of shove it in there good enough. Wipe some of that excess off of there. Okay, so quick look. I've got the vanity out, got the toilet out, got all the water lines turned off, and I've got the toilet pipes filled up with paper. Got that filled up with paper, and now we're ready to start demoing the tile. So what they did is, whoever installed the tile, they actually have it, so you have the plywood subfloor, obviously, and then they laid concrete board first, and then they did the mortar or the thin set for the tile. So what my plan is going to be is probably just to get the tile up first off of the concrete board, because they probably screwed the concrete board, so this could be interesting. All right, I went to go get the big guns. Got my hammer drill with the chisel bit. Yeah, buddy. Now I'm gonna clean some of this up a little bit. Good thing with this stuff, they have it nailed down, so it should come up pretty easy. I don't want to scratch the trim over there so much, so I'm going to try to actually break it right here and pull it up this way. Just like that. Let me go get a bag. Okay, don't laugh at me. Okay. But anyway, I've got all the floor pulled up, all the concrete board. You see a little bit of water damage around where the toilet was. And over here, just have some of the mortar, whatever adhesion, thin set, whatever the heck you want to call it. It's still on there from where they put the concrete board down, and I just have to scrape it up so that I can put LVP flooring down. That way it's all smooth. So I have this scraper here. You could probably use anything, but this has a little bit more leverage, I guess. I bought it today, but you don't necessarily have to have it. Just some kind of like putty knife or scraper tool with a flat edge to get some of this stuff up. Okay, so I've got all the tile pulled up. I've got all the concrete board pulled up. I got all the mortar and stuff scraped off. Got all the mortar and stuff scraped off. And I got it all swept up and about to vacuum. So let's take a look at it. This is what I'm interested in. Okay, so we gotta replace the floor. So yesterday, I ran out of memory on my SD card. I nicked this supply line pipe with my multi-tool blade, and so I had to replace it. And I wasn't able to get that on camera either, but a little embarrassing, but it happens. But anyway, I put a coupler right here, and just put a new half-inch pipe of CPVC, and then added another valve at the top. So that should be good to go. Water's back on, no leaks or nothing like that, so that's good. It's always nice. So now I just have to measure this out, cut the plywood, probably add some blocking on the other side, and fill it back in. Okay, I'm going to draw this out. This measurement right here is 28.5. 28.5, and that measurement is 28 1/8, and then this full length is 36.5 and 36.5. Okay, so write it down so you don't forget, and then I'll probably have to put it in two pieces to cut around this this pipe here where the toilet goes. So I'll probably split it on this one, and then I'm going to add blocking up under there. Alright, so I'll show you when we get back up there once I have this cut, but you're going to want to make sure the grain of the plywood is in the right direction, because you want the grain of the plywood to be perpendicular to the grain of the joist. It just makes it stronger. But I'll show you that here in a second. Alright, so I'm going to measure 36, or what is it? This way, 36 That way you're not reading backwards. 36 and a half. And then go down here, 36 and a half. Okay, you can use a chalk line, I'm using a level, any kind of straight line. Okay, so this measurement I believe was 28 and a half. And this one's 28 and 1/8. And then you want to draw that line. I'm hoping this lines up right. That'll be close enough. Okay, I'm going to cut 2 2x4s at 38 for some blocking. There you go. This lady's backing up and almost hitting my car. Of course, my batteries. Okay. Let's try this again. Okay, so from here to here is 15 3/4. I'll leave it just a little shy. So 15 and let's just say 15 and a half. Give it just a little, or 15 5/8, somewhere in there. That's where my pipe starts. On the other side was 16 3/4, so I'll go back about 16 and 5/8 or so. There, and then I want to double check this measurement. Should be 4 3/8. Literally using a roll of painter's tape as my circle because it's 4 3/8 wide. Really, really close to what I need, so I can use that as a reference. Okay, quick learning tip. So you see how the grain on this plywood's going this way? And then the joists are running this way. So you want the grain going this way to go perpendicular to the joist. You don't want it to be this way. If you run it that way, it's not going to be as strong because if you step in between the joist, you have a tendency for that to snap. Whereas if you put it this way, it just makes it a little stronger. Alright, I got this piece in. What's that? So I got all the floor, subfloor ready, and I'm starting to run some of the LVP flooring. I decided to start by the door because that's where you walk in. You can kind of really start wherever, but I had to make these cuts right here on the pipes. But I'm going to run the floor before putting the vanity in, because the front of the vanity kind of has like a cavity on the front, so you can kind of see the floor. So I was like, it'd probably just be better to put flooring up under there instead of running the vanity first and then flooring around it. And then I won't have to run as much trim around the vanity as well. So I think it'll look better like this. So I went ahead and notched it around these pipes right here. And then, and this part doesn't have to be necessarily pretty because it's gonna be covered by the vanity. It's got like a bottom piece under there. And then over here, I got it cut around the toilet valve. Okay, and you can see right here, this is just a normal length piece. And then I left a little gap right here for doing the threshold. I'll have to put a threshold piece to transition from the carpet to the LVP flooring. Anyway, this is a full piece, and then I cut this one at 3 feet to kind of stagger the cuts, and then this one over here is 2 feet to stagger it as well. That way all the cuts aren't on the same spot. So, and then if you're not familiar, it has a channel on one side, and the other side it's the opposite, so they interlock with each other, like this, and then they join together and they clip together on the sides like this, and then also on the end pieces they clip together as well. So it's all clipped together, and then these ones have this nice backer to it. And so all you do is line it up, get it where you want to, and get you like a rubber mallet of some kind, and that can help you get it in place. Clip it together. You want to get as close as possible. You don't want any gaps. Dude, this right here, absolute game changer. Get you some frozen strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, preferably organic. Let it thaw out by lunchtime. Dude, it's absolute fire. Okay, so looking rough. I'm gonna get pretty. Okay, got this ready for the toilet. Here's the toilet right there. There's a tank. First thing you want to do is clean. Make sure the flange is clean. All that good stuff. You're gonna take out the paper towels, rags, whatever you had in there. Now the new toilet, every toilet comes with a wax ring, which is what's gonna seal water, so up underneath, that way it doesn't leak. What I like to do, it's a lot easier and guaranteed to not leak. There's so many different benefits of using this kind, but it's a silicone toilet seal, and it's super easy. It comes, this is all it is, and so if your flange is above the floor like this one is, then all you have to do is put it in there like that, and then you set the toilet on top. If it's below, you read the instructions, but this is a spacer, and then you would put this in there like that, and it would raise it up. But in this case, the flange is above the floor. You're gonna get these bolts, put them in the slot, and get them right there. And then you're gonna take this toilet seal and put it right over those bolts, and make sure it's got a good seal right there, as you can see. Make sure everything's good up in there. So that's where your toilet's gonna go. Just in case you never seen the bottom of a toilet, here it is. So this is the part, this is the poop chute. So this is what's going inside of that blue silicone ring. If you did a wax ring, you'd put the wax ring around that, but we're doing the silicone. So now you're just gonna pick up the toilet and gently get it centered over this this thing right here. Get your bolts lined up on the sides and make sure they go through. And then you want to kind of get your toilet spaced and centered on the wall. You're gonna get these washers and hex nuts. You're gonna put the washer down first, and then the hex nut. Do that on both sides, and you're gonna hand tighten it all the way down, and then you use pliers. And then when you're screwing these down, you want to alternate sides, and you want to put some pressure down on it, and you don't want to over tighten it, or else if you over tighten it, it'll crack this and you have to get a whole nother toilet. Up underneath, you're gonna put, it came with these washers and wing nuts. You're gonna want to alternate sides as well, because if you over tighten it, it will crack it as well. Okay, we're gonna install a toilet seat. You line it up with these holes, and it came with a screw and this little thing. So literally just pop it through and tighten it from underneath. I've got the supply line hooked up down there. It's all tight. Got all the bolts tight in here. Got the tank on. I turned the water back on, and now we gotta flush it. Everything seems to be good. You always want to check and make sure you don't have any leaks or anything around the sides. It's always a good thing to do. No leaks ain't no good. Yeah. Alright, we got the floor done, got the toilet in, got the shoe mold. So here's the back of the vanity. Thankfully, it's all an open back here. So this one is gonna be easy. So I only have to notch out for these supply lines, and then this pipe here. So for this white pipe down here, I'm just measuring from the trim. I'm gonna put the vanity flush to the trim. So get the measurement to that. So I'll have to notch out this back panel right here for that. I will have to notch or drill holes through the top of this bottom piece for the supply line. So I got my measurements for that. I wrote them on the wall. And so I'm fixing to mark it out and drill the holes for it. So first measurement is 18 and a half. There. And then 24 and a quarter. I'm essentially going to cut that whole little section out all the way to the top just for clearance. I don't have to cut all the way up for this pipe, but I'm going to anyway just because it'll be easier. And you won't be able to see it from the front. You don't want to cut to the floor, so I'm putting my speed square under there so that I don't cut the floor. I'm going to reattach or nail into right here. Just because it's a little wobbly like that, so. Alright, so I'm going to measure 14.5 over. That's going to be the start of the hole for the supply line. And then the other one is 19 inches. So mark 19, 2 3/4. 4.5, 2 3/4, 4.5, something like that. There. You get the faucet and it's got the supply lines already there. You get this actually. Put that first. Then feed the supply lines through. All I'm doing here is just following the instructions. All you had was a rubber gasket and a metal gasket. You put the rubber gasket first, and then the metal gasket, and then it's got this little hex nut screw that tightens it, and that's what's gonna basically fasten it to the countertop. And it also, yes, is supposed to kind of help separate the two supply lines. Alright. Okay, this is a pop-up drain. So you're gonna make sure this rubber gasket's on there. You're gonna drop it in like that. And then on the underside, you're gonna take this rubber gasket and shove it up like that. Alright. And then you're gonna take this nut screw thing and put that like so. And now you just want to screw it up as tight as you can get it. So for the first pipe that goes into this stub on the wall, you're going to use this piece. This is to create the P-trap. You're going to go this, slide this piece on with the threads down. Then you're going to slide this piece on with the threads that way to screw onto there. And before you screw that, you got to put this little plastic connector or rubber connector like that, so that when you tighten it, it seals it. So shove that in there. Okay. Next part. There. Screw that on. Okay. Now you can push this pipe in to get this lined up with the pipe at the top. The extension tube, and you're going to put another rubber gasket up here, but before you do that, slide your ring up first and then put that on there, and you're going to have to cut this to length. So actually I need to unscrew this. Okay. Go ahead and connect that. We're almost ready to turn the water back on. Okay.